to another session of The Brief. And today on Block Chat, after 2 weeks, it's been 2 weeks, Denis.
Yes.
We'll be talking
2 weeks.
2 weeks or no longer, 3 weeks.
I think maybe even 3 weeks since we went live.
I've been recording every week, so I don't feel it. I don't have the right sense of time. But guys, today there's so much that we want to cover. We will start with covering what's happening all over the world, the opportunity in what's happening, the pain that everyone is feeling. I can't believe I'm smiling. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't feel your pain the same way you do, because I'm simply the only crypto exposure I do have is to BST, and it doesn't matter to me what the price does today. I'm invested in the project, in my view. So today we'll be discussing so much, as well as the fundamental of what's behind our project, real estate, the fundamental of an industry that have offered cash flow for the last hundreds of years, have lived inflationary, stagflationary, deflationary environments, crashes, booms, and will live so many more. And it's said that if you want to create a business of $1 billion, you would need to solve a problem for an industry of $10 billion. We're trying to solve and impact an industry of $300 to $600 trillion and booming today. And it can crash tomorrow, but it doesn't really matter. It will stay in the trillions. So assess the value of our business. Today, it's Denis Petrovcic and Makram Hani on this session of Block Chat. Denis, how are you?
Hey, Makram. Very well, actually. I'm glad we're doing this live. I kind of missed it, honestly.
Same here.
So, yeah, I missed it.
I even forgot how do they do it. So I need to remember today.
Oh, guys and ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching me, I just got back to the office like 10 minutes ago, and there's so much traffic around. There's this concert nearby our office, and everything was stuck, and I was really struggling to come in time, but I made it, and we're live now. So hopefully there's no hiccups in terms of my voice. If you can't hear me, please tell us now, and we'll try to solve it. But anyways, let's go back to the topics that we want to cover today. You mentioned real estate and crashes, and I remember when COVID came. So I have these two investments in real estate assets, properties that are leased to 50 tenants, individuals, students in the city of Ljubljana. And I was kind of scared because I didn't know if the contracts I have in place will, go through, if the need for those tenants will still be present, what's going to happen. And I tell you what happened, nothing. Everything went as expected. The bank was calling. I was saying, it's fine. And they were like surprised because they had problem with many other real estate investors that invested in maybe other types of real estate properties, and things were delaying. But here we were kind of safe. So even within real estate as a sector, you have different performing assets through different times. But what's true, and Makram said, is that it tends to stick, and even those cycles, the downturns, it kind of miraculously reemerges as the winning asset class still. So I'm quite confident that what we're doing is, I would say, on the right side of the market and solving problems for the right asset class.
And as I would like to say, if you want to build wealth for the coming years, today specifically, and this works every day, but today specifically, do not look at what will change. Try to tend to look at what will stay the same, because you really don't know. No one of us can predict the market or assess what will happen tomorrow. But we all know that there are fundamentals, and those fundamentals create a very solid base. And this solid base is something that we can depend on. Today, we've depended on in the past, and will depend on in the future. So what will not change? Now let's talk, Dennis, first about what's changing. Yeah, we have too much happening in Blocksquare, Ocean Point side. What's happening? What have happened over the past few weeks when we didn't really update anyone on live? We've been updating everyone on Discord, on Telegram, but let's do it live today.
Yeah, I think one of the why we didn't go live for 3 weeks was not because we were hiding somewhere, definitely not, but because there's a lot of work to be done. We're getting closer to version 0.2 becoming, the release going into production, which means going live. And there's so many things that we need to finish up in the back to make that process as nice of an experience, not just from the technical standpoint of view, but as well for the asset owners. Some of them are not blockchain savvy, so we need to prepare content that can guide them through the process of staking, even though, just like with BST staking in the governance pool, we really tend to create a UI with a user experience that's kind of straightforward. So there was also questions about the audit report. We received back just yesterday the first draft of the report, which highlighted a couple of things in the documentation that are lacking or missing. So we're working now on bringing additional explanations of the functioning of the asset pool and the staking functionalities, which will, I believe, have an impact on both the user experience, the information that the users receive. So it's not only about tech vulnerabilities, but as well the understanding of the contract and how it functions. And that's a process. Doing a smart contract audit, it's a process. It takes time. You get in the queue, wait for the results. You get a draft back. Then you work to repair if there's something to repair, to substantiate why you have chosen a certain design in the smart contract. You get back to the auditors, and this is like an iterative process. And the same we already went through with the governance pool, and we understand the process, and I hope the community understands it too, that this is all being done for security reasons, and because once you deploy things on chain, especially in DeFi, they tend to stick for what they were designed, and if they were designed poorly, then the outcomes might be poor.
And you need to do things right. Yeah, Dite insisted on that while we were chatting on Spotlight. And for whoever have seen that episode of Spotlight, he insisted that you can't do things wrong. You do things wrong, you pay for it in the future. Everyone pays for it, yeah? The DAO pays for it. You do things right, and you do it right first time. And the user experience, everything that is part of the ecosystem should be tested by not only by the creators, but also by third parties. And this is exactly what's taking place here. So I believe by the way, because I see what's happening in general with the community reaction to that, I believe, yes, everyone wants the new version 2, and probably people like us are thinking ahead to version 3 probably. But everyone understands the process and seem to align with our direction, which says that part of the process, it's not all funky stuff, it's not all fun. Part of the process is boring stuff for everyone who wants the excitement in it. Yeah, but let's look at what is changing by the day. We have tokenized some more assets. We have some more assets live today. What do we have? How many assets, and what's the situation today with that?
So I think last update we did, it's about where we are today. I think Julia updated the community a couple of days ago. So we're at 38 assets we added another two countries to the list, and the total value of those assets is 33 million. I think that's, a really good growth. I mean, we're over exceeding our own expectations of where we're getting here. And we're already talking with other ecosystems, other blockchain layer one ecosystems of, collaborating maybe through a smaller grant or something like that. And I really hope that we're able to kind of deploy our solution to other ecosystems as well. We're going to gain from it as a DAO because we're going to get exposure to new communities, and some of those communities might want to engage in what we're doing here and feel it close. So this is, and one other thing is an asset that I believe is the first in line of the kind of real commercial real estate assets, and you can talk a bit more, Makram, about it. It's an asset in Mauritius, and it has, I think, around 6 million US dollars, or maybe, or is it 7 million US dollars? So
probably valued at 8 today.
It's a larger asset. It's a proper commercial real estate asset, and I think that's kind of a precedence for other commercial real estate asset owners to come and join the DAO through staking. And I think that's what we're creating here, is a vested community of people who are defying the status quo in terms of real estate liquidity, and see Ocean Point as one of the future players that can solve those issues for them.
100%. And we want to concentrate here on the work that is being done. So yes, we're updating you guys once a week, sometimes once every few weeks, although we're always engaging. Yet it's very important for us that we're working behind the scenes. We don't want to just be hype and talk and imagine a company that can come up every morning with so much PR and news and things that are happening, positive or negative, does not really matter. There's so much happening. We're a company that's running an operation that's well-oiled and running. I'll give you very few examples of things that have been happening. There's investors coming in. There's people who believe in the ecosystem. There's VCs being talked to. There is new assets, commercial assets coming in. There's other kinds of assets coming in, which are, all of those create diversity within the ecosystem. It's important not to have one kind of asset only, residential or hotel apartments or students housing only, because each asset in each city, in each country runs and is impacted by different dynamics. And our target is to have all of those. And that's the fund of funds. Yeah, that's us having all of those in one place. The thing, however, I want to point out is, for example, this morning, and that session, I believe, eventually will go public. I'm not sure. We were on a session with a community. It's a closed community in Australia that Julia, our CMO, hi Julia, have arranged a collaboration with an organization that is responsible for educating investors, and mostly were real estate investors who are subject to crypto, who have big crypto investments. You cannot imagine the amount of, we had so much fun. I had so much fun. The amount of engagement, and that's something that is great. You have people who are really thinking, and the only time when people are serious about your solution and about the future of what your solution creates is when they start thinking about the challenges and the risks. As long as everyone thinks it's rosy, they're thinking the shell of it. When people want to involve their real money, their hard-earned money, their nest eggs in it, the future of their kids in it, they start thinking about challenges and risks. And our job is to try and mitigate and simplify things so that people can understand it. And I believe that people do. People do get it. So we had real estate developers on board today. I believe it was like 60 investors that were on board, and it will be spread to 1,000 investors, as we heard, within the coming few days or weeks. So the whole idea is those people are engaged, and I believe that they understand the value proposition behind it. We're not trying to sell some tokens here. We're trying to impact something that you use today, you buy today, you invest in today. And look at the development. Dennis said 33 million, and it's really beyond what we thought of. We were thinking of $50 million till the end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's in our roadmap. It's 50 million
what we
worth of assets.
And what we were expecting is that we will go slowly, because it's an educational process, and then it will start picking up by references and by people engaging, and then people see others doing, and then it will pick up more. But if we're 33 million today, that's a great look at what will become the end of the year. It's not the end of challenges here, yeah? It's not a rosy picture we're painting for anyone. Neither do we want to give wrong expectations to anyone. Nor we're there for today and tomorrow morning. We're there for, and I believe, if it's not recorded, unfortunately, the board meeting last week, is it last week, Dennis? Or this week? This week.
Yeah.
The board meeting this week, recorded and publish it. Unfortunately, it's not recorded, but if it was recorded, sorry?
Yeah. No, we don't record them.
You don't record them, but if we do record them,
we should, right?
We should, and publish them. And I believe that's a perfect representation of what runs behind the screen, what runs in our minds, in our hearts. And everyone here is putting their money where their tongue is. Yeah? In every aspect of what we're doing. We're putting our time. No one over here doesn't have a job and jumped into this by mistake. Everyone is successful in his own means. It shows to invest in this for the future. And this is what we want. People who choose to invest in this and do understand the value and why they're investing in this. Dennis, can we talk about why are people investing in this? I know you want to update people about version 2, talk about version 3 a little bit.
No, it's...
Why would anyone come and put his asset today and tokenize it? Why would they stake it? Why would people launch marketplaces? Why?
I think like this, the why, if we go beyond the obvious why that we see in the future, but let's just take a look at the now why, the why now. And there's something that was clearly phrased through a talk I had with a US-based VC. You guys are the only ones bringing supply of real estate on chain, and there's nobody doing it as efficiently as you guys are. And I believe that's like everything we've built is right now serving the purpose of bringing supply of real estate value on chain. Now, the importance of why this is important to DeFi or to Web3, I think that this bear market kind of shows that it's not mature enough. It's still pure speculation. While real world assets, real estate assets are basically less speculative, way less speculative than crypto. And bringing that value on chain, how that can be used by various projects, I think it's just astounding what can happen out of it. If most of tokenized real estate value actually goes through our protocol, then it means the industry will need to adopt the way we tokenize real estate. It will need to start working towards that type of real estate tokenization. And we're the only ones doing it in that specter, adding 2, maybe 3 assets each week. Name another company that's doing it. I don't see any. And that's the DAO incentive or being part of the DAO is what's triggering it. So why would anybody want to become the DAO that owns the protocol that brings the largest amount of real estate value on chain to date? I don't know. Do you know?
I definitely know. I definitely know. Why would you be the DAO? Why would you be the user? Why would you? Is it you just venturing and experimenting with something new? I don't believe so. I believe that if you understand the value proposition here as an owner, I'll give you an example. And today I want to take risks, by the way. I was preparing to, and this just came up now, guys. I want to put we were very cautious in the first block chats, and now we're more confident about it. Yeah, we want to do things that are adventurous. I want to put on the marketplace on screen while we're talking now in the coming few minutes. However, I want to give an example for anyone who owned real estate. You can be starting today, or you could have started a long time ago. I'm a real estate investor since some time, yeah? I'm not the biggest in the world. I'm an okay one. I do well. So what I do is I buy and sell real estate. So what I would say is that with Blocksquare, I'm in the most lucrative business you can ever think of in real estate. On the other side, with Arms and McGregor Investments and soon REI Capital within the coming few weeks, I'm in the most boring business you can ever think of. Let me tell you how boring it is. Now, I know that you will laugh about that, but let me tell you how boring it is. I buy real estate, I improve it, I sell it, I make profit, I repeat. So if I remove the profit here, it looks this way. Buy real estate, improve its position, sell, repeat. Imagine me, talking about this for the coming hour and saying only buy, improve, sell, repeat. Buy, improve, sell, repeat. I've been doing this for a very long time. It's not boring to me, but I'm pretty sure it will bore anyone else. Now I have the profit there too.
It's not boring to you because there's this profit part.
To be honest, look, I love the profit in it, but I love the thrill, the adrenaline in it. You know, you can't. I'm like a small kid, and if you watch me while doing a transaction, I've done hundreds, without saying thousands, of transactions over the past years. I'm like a small kid. It's like you get a new shoe to your son, and I'll be like jumping, and it will be a very small transaction. I always tell them, if people who are selling property to me or buying property from me see me while doing it, they will just sell the property to see that reaction again. Okay, so sell him the property, give him the property for a good price. And actually, within that process, I'm good at one thing only, buying. I'm not good at selling. I'm okay at selling. I'm good at buying. I buy the right stuff. Now, I've bought approximately 100 properties, bought and sold, 100 properties a year for the past few years. Now, imagine this with me. Today, I have only one thing to show for all of those properties. Memories, pictures of those properties. Actually, I delete some of those pictures because they fill my hard drive. So this is the only thing I have to show. Imagine that I have a toll on all of those properties. Imagine that I make today a 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.5% of every property I've ever bought or sold. Every time it's bought and sold. Can you imagine that? Yeah, imagine it. Continue. It has too many zeros in it. That is what we used to do. And today, we can do something different. Now, that's one aspect of it. I'm not talking about liquidity. I'm not talking about making every tenant of mine an owner of a property. I'm not talking about how we impact societies. I'm not talking about any of those. I'm just talking about one very simple thing. Me having a toll on every property I've ever touched or transacted. That's it. And this is what I want everyone to have. When you buy a property that's amazing, you own a property facing this stadium in Rome, and you sell that property, is that it? Is that it forever? You own a piece of history and then it's gone. There should be much more into it than that. Cash flow. Yes, we buy real estate for cash flow. We own real estate for cash flow. But people like me who are slightly more lucrative in the boring business of buying and selling real estate, and in profiting off purchasing and selling real estate, and of improving real estate and improving the position of real estate, we hope to do slightly more, and we can do more. And today, if we tokenize our property, we can do more. So why tokenize your property? This is one of the reasons. Now, why launch a marketplace? Why would you today, successful broker or developer or anything, launch a marketplace? Let me ask you a question. And I asked Denis this question actually. Denis, I want you to visualize with me, please. You are in the 1964.
Okay.
Actually, 1994. That's easier to visualize. You run a property brokerage or a development company.
At 10.
Sorry?
At 8 years old.
Yeah.
1994.
Yeah. So, you run that company at that time, and you were 28. And that moment of time, you were told that you need a website to be able to show everyone in the world the properties that you currently are able to show people who pass in your street with your shop there in Louisiana.
Yeah.
What would you have thought? Would you have loved it and said, yeah, I'm jumping on it?
Oh. Probably yes. In my
At
today's
8 years
mindset,
old, you're
probably
that
yes. Probably yes. But I'm not the right person to talk. I would still be skeptical. I would say, okay, but how many people are actually using this internet thing? You know, if there's 10 people on a weekly basis seeing my website, that's, very few. I get many more coming into my shop. So, I don't care about it. It might be nice to have, but not really the main business driver. Yeah.
So Makram now, that guy who was trying to sell you that, came to you and told you, look, Denis, so how about if we create that website and we don't only put your properties on it, but we put properties of everyone in the city on it if they want to sell and buy. So all the developers. And then if each of them sends 10 to this website, there will be many more people looking at this website.
Okay, so now others that have shops are sending their own customers to my website?
And the property, yes. Yeah. Cool?
Okay.
Yeah, but we will not call it your website. We'll not call it your website. We'll call it Arms and McGregor's website. We call it Property Portal, something like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Now, how about if that is your future, you want to make it the future of your business, and you decide that your business is making 100,000 euros a year, you want to take 5,000 euros and invest in that, and we make it a separate standalone entity, because I believe, and I could convince you, that, people will start using this more and more with time.
Okay.
Now, if you haven't said okay at that time, today you wouldn't be a unicorn. You wouldn't be Rightmove, you wouldn't be Zillow, you wouldn't be hundreds of those platforms that run today and are worth billions. In my market, there's currently a company called Property Finder. There's another called Bayut and Dubiza, so that no one gets upset. However, those companies, and I'm a fan of the value both add. I love this competition in adding value to communities and societies. I remember, I don't want to say the time because maybe I'm wrong, 10, 15 years ago, when Property Finder was trying to show as the new thing in real estate that everyone should be on and pay packages to be on, and really big packages, everyone was skeptical. And actually, as far as I really believe, Michael, the founder, was very near to go bankrupt with the business. Michael, pardon me if I'm wrong. This is what I felt at least. So his father, I believe at that time, and I still remember an event that we were in, his father jumped into the event and probably supported the event. And I believe that he injected cash. I'm not sure, but I believe so. So at that time for the business to survive. Today, Property Finder is worth $1 billion, I believe also, maybe $500 million, but it's a unicorn. It's $1 billion. Dubizzle and Bayut, which are now a joint company, are also worth $1 billion. Guys, those are today the current, 10, 15 years ago, whoever did it was simply trying to open a platform. The only difference is that today you can run a platform because everything is technology as a service. It's a SaaS model. People can subscribe into it without really putting their life on the edge. While Michael at that time and the founders of Dubizzle probably put their life on the edge. You can do that today without doing so. How do you feel about it, Denis? Do you want to launch your own marketplace?
Definitely.
I have a customer there.
So, definitely. I mean, I was thinking when you were telling the story, I was thinking about the market here in Slovenia, and we have a similar player, but obviously Slovenia is a way, way, way smaller market. There's only 2 million people that actually speak Slovenian. But the interesting part is a friend of mine launched a competitive product. I think I would estimate about 10 years ago. Maybe I'm doing Marco wrong, but let's say about 10 years ago. And he was not able to disrupt that initial player. Even though the initial player doesn't have an app, it has a mediocre website interface that's still the same. It runs ads, and everybody's using it. All the agencies around are using that same one because all the visitors go there. There were competitors that are in the used goods market and trying to penetrate the real estate market, didn't win. Nobody overpassed that first mover. And the first mover is still there, and they actually acquired my friend's company, at least in part, I think. And they were acquired, obviously, by a foreign fund. But it doesn't matter. It's just that they were hard to disrupt because in the heads of the people from this community here, that's the brand that they related to when they wanted to buy or sell real estate. And so, I think the first mover's advantage is very important when it comes to branding and building a new brand with a new offering on a certain market. But you do need to do it.
And today, I believe Europe, by the way, a few years ago, I was building a platform, a portal, and my target was Europe because I believe, forget about the UK, put the UK on the side. I believe the rest of Europe suffers because they don't have the right quality of a platform. That's part of my ignorance, guys, if I'm saying something that isn't true. But with my little real estate experience, when I tried to buy property in Portugal, for example, I really suffered. There's no proper platform similar to what I have in my market here. Similarly, in Africa, there's no proper platform. So there is a gap in the market. Now, probably the market may make a transition from the current mediocre average platforms to marketplaces, to the future. Maybe it does that move. And there's several markets, plenty of markets that skip a period and skip a stage, and they go to the next stage. Now, if we are doing this, and we're doing this because, yes, we will have a toll on real estate as owners, so it's not the end we will see of the great real estate we'll buy today. The right choice we'll do will benefit of forever. It's more efficient. There is profit in the numbers. We are able to impact our markets and be leaders in that, and the leader's advantage is the leader's advantage. It all depends on, do you see this as the future or not? So let me tell you, what do you need to look at to see this as the future or not? So we're not talking crypto here. We're not talking anything we're talking the following. Online, so everything digital. Do you think this is the future? I believe this is the current, yeah? So we're not even talking future. This is the current. So things that are online, ease to use, convenience of ordering from wherever you want in the world, simplicity of payment, ease of funding. This is what we have in front of us. So what we're talking about is this. Will this be the future of real estate buying and selling? It's currently the current of everything. So it is the big thing in everything, from ordering food to taxes to everything. Everything is becoming on-chain, online, regardless if on-chain or non-chain, it does not matter. So do you see that experience is something that have happened in all products, but will not happen in real estate? So are you really telling me it won't? What do you think?
Well, I think that there's a set course, and it's just the when, not exactly how this will manifest. When you started talking about the past and the listing sites, it really kind of related to, I mean, I was comparing the two, and yeah, I think similar things are going to happen in the process of buying, selling real estate as an investment. I'm not talking about buying real estate as a home, but as an investment. And the true shift is going to happen probably when investors realize that the time component that it takes to properly manage a self-owned portfolio, and versus the risk diversification that comes with managing it through tokenization, that outweigh the hurdles of traditional real estate investing, and that you rather kind of have a Makram that really knows how to buy, and then buy into that token. Because that's where real estate investing is very important, to know at what price to buy and what to buy as well. So all of those things come through this process. And going into digital, yes, of course, that's why we're in the business that we are. Yeah.
And Denis, by the way, I'm still trying to figure out how to put it on screen, but I will figure it out in a second. So there is a saying, I believe, by Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing, who is the teacher, I believe, of Warren Buffett and the school that came from Benjamin Graham. He wrote Intelligent Investor. I advise everyone to read it. Xerox also, please read that book as well. What he says is the ability of yours as an investor to purchase non-diversified or diversified assets is to protect you from, or actually it doesn't say the ability, the process of you purchasing into diversified assets and asset classes is to protect you from the ignorance that you may have. So actually diversification is a protection against ignorance. And by ignorance here, we don't just mean ignorance because you are ignorant. Ignorance means non-knowledge of the thing to a certain limit. So
when if I can jump in, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, if you have the time to really focus on a specific niche and really understanding really well, like you said, you're a pro when it comes to buying apartments on the Palm Jumeirah. You're like really good at it, you know.
Quote it.
But if I put you in Ljubljana and you want to buy apartments in Ljubljana, it's still apartments. You're not that big of a pro yet. You would need to learn the market. So there's a new factor. And if you're not a pro in a specific niche within real estate, then diversification is kind of the where you need to actually become a pro in. And in this way, you protect you from you make some losses, you make some wins, and that kind of helps you out.
And when you buy into the fund of funds, you protect yourself against that kind of ignorance or possibility of loss. Let's talk about cash flow in real estate. Yeah. So regardless of what you're doing today, guys, cash flow is very important. Let me tell you why cash flow is very important. One of the reasons cash flow is very important is that if you have something that pays you based on the dollar or euro value tomorrow, in general, it works itself well with inflation. Yeah. If you have something that pays you as you go and is usually impacted by how much it pays you, by how much people are paid and how much things cost, then it works its way well with inflation. It still works its way well with stagflation if it's a product that people need. So maybe people will stop eating as much beef. However, will people go back to living in tents? I doubt it. So the product you have is, is a product that no one can stop using and will only increase in cost of purchasing and cost of owning. Now, there's many elements that impact that, so I don't want to get into them now because that's a different subject for a different time. And I've written an article about it last week. I believe you've read it, Denis, yeah? The whole idea is cash flow is king. So how do we create cash flow? We create cash flow by getting a summary of assets into a pot, and we make sure that those assets are productive, and we distribute those or this income, this return to people who are owners of these assets or owners of this pot. So if Denis owns in a certain market today and I own another, if we come and join and put our assets together, and if our markets act differently, we are protecting each other against individual ignorance possibilities. So if Denis does a mistake, we both pay for it. If I do a mistake, we both pay for it. However, it will never be a knockdown. It will never be so detrimental to that individual person. And that's part of why it's important to be in such a diversified portfolio. And that's why it's very important to get paid cash flow, because cash flow allows you to correct even a mistake if it happens. So even if you do a mistake,
and now we come back to the initial part of why people are tokenizing with us.
Yep.
Because that's what they see is like they might have a small stake in BST right now. They're going to expand that stake through staking, and at that moment they will start bringing with a portion of their asset. They're going to start bringing cash flow in the ecosystem. You're going to share some of your cash flow because I'm sharing some of my cash flow, etc., etc. And so that becomes then something where we all get impact on our holdings in the end. And that's in a way where the Ocean Point as a DAO it comes to its power in terms of tokenomics.
If I capture this session, it will be because of what I'm experimenting with now. So I'm just giving you a warning, huh? Okay. So version 2, what's happening with version 2.0?
It's we're working on the audit right now to get all the things sorted. The code itself is not in question. It's the documentation a bit that comes with it. So that's one part. The other part is getting the owners of real estate the right message. So not to have long scripts, but as short as possible, concise information, so they can follow step by step the process of getting their assets into the staking pool for BSPT. And that's basically what we're doing with along with getting new inquiries in. We actually just recently updated the website of
It's not anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be anymore.
I can see you. I can actually see you. but I'm not sure if the streaming is going through.
I believe it's going through now.
Oh, now it's going. No, yeah, now it's fine.
Okay, that's me playing
That's
around
fine.
with it. I'll stop doing that, I promise you.
Yeah. Don't
It's a
play
good
too much.
idea.
Yeah, so there's this form with a couple of questions so that we know what type of asset we're talking about. And that then we follow up with a call, with an intro call for that tokenization, initial pre kind of screening. And then we start taking in a bit more information on the asset, explaining to the owner, what's going to happen, etc. So it's either me or Makram usually on the calls, or it might be Julia even. So we're trying to cover this part of asset onboarding. And that's it. I think once we have this, the part of the audit documentation done and finalized, I think the next phase is the release of version 0.2, which doesn't mean that right the next day we're gonna see assets coming into Ocean Point, but it's rather a process that will have open for an estimated of 10 days, so that we have the majority of asset owners in. We need to account as well that it's now end of June, or mid-June, so it means that some might be even on a holiday. So we might have a longer period of time before we then start staking, because we want to, before rewards start flowing into the asset pool, because we want to have as many different real estate assets in at the same time, so that it doesn't happen that we have maybe 2 or 3 owners in and the rest is just not there yet.
Sure. And let's look ahead to version 03. What can we expect of that? Do you want to talk about that, Denis?
Sure. So my expectation for 0.3, so we did that switch. Instead of doing liquidity mining now, we postponed it for later on. We switched the two functionalities, or the two scopes.
And sorry, just 1 second. I'm asking about this now. I know that people would be saying, get done with 02, then go to 03. I'm asking about this now because I believe the process of flipping it will benefit the roadmap towards 03, and the process post 02 is much simpler, I could say. Am I right?
Yeah. You're right, because the mechanics of that are in version 01 and in version 02, both kind of are a bit correlating to what will happen with LP staking in version 03. It's a bit more advanced DeFi functionality, I would say, because you need to go to, let's say, Uniswap, provide liquidity on the two sides, BST and ETH, for instance, and then you receive liquidity provider tokens back, and you then need to come to Ocean Point and kind of lock that liquidity in. There are certain parameters that we are still open, like if there's a minimum lock-in period, is there a maximum one, is there stuff like that that we need to kind of figure out. Are we going to have a liquidity pool for each individual, a liquidity staking contract for each individual pool, or is everything going to be in one? So from a tech perspective, we can do both, but there's pros and cons for doing it one or the other way. But we're already ahead thinking of this. Now the focus is on version 02. But version 03, I think it's when the fun part starts happening. And the question is, what will be the size of staked assets within Ocean Point at that moment? We estimated we need to reach 50 million. Is that enough? Do we need to first reach a larger amount of assets before we actually start engaging liquidity providers. What's the timing regarding to the bear market? Because obviously this is a special circumstance right now that is impacting the liquidity that can be provided in terms of dollars. With 10 ETH, you were providing 30K, and now you're providing 10K. So this is all things that impact, I would say, version 03 in terms of timing to launch it. Yeah.
And today we talk about the bear market, and that's very important because I believe the sentiment of people is driven by what happens on the market on the day. And when you have a period of pain, which we've been living now for a period of time for anyone who holds crypto, and then everyone starts coming out from Bill Gates saying, you know what, NFTs are digital. Actually, he said a statement that I like. I know that you will not like, Denis, but I like. He said cynically and with sarcasm, he said, I believe that pictures of monkeys or JPEGs of monkeys selling for millions will make life on Mother Earth better, or something like that. Maybe I've added some salt to it myself. So the whole idea, guys, is that bear market or not, we're fundamentalists, and look, it's very easy to create things every day if you're just creating mumbo jumbo and hype. It's very difficult to create things every day if you're building buildings. Yeah, if you're getting real estate on chain, if you're creating something that impacts parties around. And I would tell you that, look, there's so much positive stuff in a bear market. First, you will discover so much positive stuff. Actually, one of the positive stuff in the bear market is that people who really know what they're doing will...
We met in a bear market.
Exactly. And actually, one of the things you mentioned at that time, you said, I like your thinking because you're still on it while it's a bear market. Now, he didn't know at that time that I never owned Bitcoin. So I didn't know it's a bear market at that time, maybe. So that's why. However, when a bear market comes, you will discover who is in it and knows what they're doing and who was in it just because everyone else is. Because this is what happens. This is how people drive. And what I would tell you today, you know, there is the ultimate, the Fibri initiative, the ultimate legislators program. Yeah, we've been talking to legislators in Fibri to collaborate because we believe that we can add value to what they're doing with our experiences and what we are living on a daily basis, and they can add value to our future, definitely. Without them, we have no future in general. And you will see the really impressive engagement from legislators. They know that it's happening. And I've heard something from a legislator a few days ago which inspired me. He said, do you really think that we're ignorant of what's taking place in the world and that's why we don't legislate for it? I said, can I not answer that? Because yes, this is what I believe. And he said, you're wrong, my man. What we do in general, we are aware. And we understand the technology. Maybe they understand it much better than me, actually. However, we allow all of this fluff to build up and things to settle so that we know what stays, what lives, what lasts, and all of those experiments take place. And then we legislate for what's solid. So a bear market is positive because when several cycles pass on Ethereum and you say, you know what, it's a token that or technology that have lived several cycles, that gives it strength. And this is how a human being grows and becomes an adult. And this is what happens in general around us. So a bear market has too many positivities. And today, I'm sure there's many people who have pain of that. I hope, guys, pain to no one of you. And no one wishes pain to anyone of you, regardless of how you invested, why have you invested, have you speculated or not. I feel you. However, it's time, regardless of what you've done, to look at what's fundamental. So study a project. So whoever was buying mumbo jumbo coin and pictures of apes, go look at the tokenomics behind BST. Okay, so go look at Blocksquare token, understand the tokenomics behind it, go look at the project, read the docs, research what we're doing, look at our marketplace at Ocean Point, look at the technology, look at the partners, and look at our dialogue, regardless bear market or not. And then invest or create your coming investment based on that. So if you have been holding an NFT that went down in value from 30 ETH to 2 ETH, while 30 ETH were worth at that time something like $100,000, and today the 2 ETH is worth something like 4,000, or it's less than 4,000 probably today. I'm not following, sorry. So
it's less.
It's less. So call it $3,500. That's so much pain. But today you have an opportunity to remove it from whatever it's in and place it in something that can grow faster and better and more fundamental. We call it repositioning. So I'll tell you in property terms, because I'm a property investor, I don't understand tech. So in property terms today, if you have a property that you've bought and it weathered badly in an environment, and you feel that the future for that property is not great, but there's other properties that may have a great future or much better future, thus recover faster, the best thing you do is not wait for that property to recover its value or the value that you bought at, which may not be the current value or any value in the future. You reposition, you sell that property, you take that money and you put it in a property where you can grow. So you cut your losses and you move on, because sticking to your losses, it does not work. So all of those are benefits of a bear market. And we hope that people really benefit from this bear market in getting on projects, not only our project, there's plenty of projects. There's projects that are competitors to ours, probably in our industry or intersection between two industries. Don't touch those. However, there's projects in other sectors that are also very valuable. So either Blocksquare in real estate tokenization, or all our competitors and counterparts, because they add value to us as well as we add value to them. They help us as well as we help them, and everyone else who's solid and who's fundamental. Do you think that is what people would do, Denis, or no? You think that people won't do that?
I mean, how you manage your investments, it's up to each individual. Some manage it in one way, some on the other. I'm not an expert in managing crypto investments or token investments for others other than myself. And I make plenty of mistakes. How are you doing? By the way, I'm doing great. I have property in my portfolio, so cool. I'm fine. I'm set. The thing is, I look at bear markets in a different way a bit, not so much on the investment side. That's just a pause in terms of, and it really gives you a lot of time. It gives you more time because you're not only, but at the same moment, it gives you also the ability to talk to somebody from another project, from another ecosystem or the same ecosystem, maybe a more leading position than a junior, without the talk going, oh, so you guys tokenize real estate with NFTs? And that's what this cycle was about. It was like any conversation I was doing, it was going into NFTs. And it was really hard to explain sometimes that, we're not really into NFTs, but we're doing something that actually solves problems. And right now with the bear market, what you get is clearance of all the speculators. Just most of them go away. You have time to connect with the builders, the people that actually are in it for the long run. You're able to create more meaningful relationships. And as opposed to the last bear market where we were a pre-product, small MVP type of company, we now are post-product with traction, with purpose, with a great team, and a great community. So we have something very tangible around us, and we can just focus on that and use that to create new relationships, to expand our community, because the people that are going to come in through this bear market, they're going to stay to the next bear market, no matter how it goes. And that's the type of people we want to have in our DAO. And that's what excites me about the bear market. Unfortunately, the numbers and the zeros are a bit different than they were before, but that's just math.
And the numbers and the zeros hopefully will not impact, again, projects and excitement about projects where the community is solid. Our community is pretty solid. What we want to do, we've talked about it last time, Denis, is that next time we hopefully will involve the community in them posting questions for us in a video manner. So how about if we tell everyone that who will watch this episode, regardless of where you are in the world, how about if you record a 30-second question, please, for us and send it through, and we will try to on the coming block chat get this question on, get you on screen and answer this question. That I believe would add value to the block chat, add value to the brief, and add value to our community and everyone else. And every time somebody asks a question, it makes us think about the solution and other solutions beyond that. So that would be something great, I believe we'd have. How about if we close here, because we've been running for an hour approximately. We don't want to bore anyone. Thank you for everyone who's sending positive comments about previous sessions, similar to the session with Simon Owen, with Daniel Gomez. People like those sessions. We've had a session last week with Crypto Granny. We love Crypto Granny. I've watched something for her today. She's doing very good on how she simplifies stuff for people. Pekka Kelka, Papa Blockchain. Thank you for people who are going back to those sessions, sharing them, because I see that people are sharing them. And I want to thank also people who are sharing our stuff, especially Andrew, who shares approximately everything we do on LinkedIn. Really appreciate it, Andrew, and thumbs up and continue doing it, please, and do more of it. And we hope that more people do it. What do you want to tell our community and everyone else, Denis?
See you at 40 million real estate assets. We're just going to continue doing it, exactly. No matter what.
Exactly. Guys, for everyone who joined us today, I asked you a question some time ago. When are you gonna start tokenizing your assets? Is it when there is few billions of tokenized assets and the dynamics of the whole game change? Or is it today? If you're a broker or a property developer, when are you gonna think about the coming platform, the future of what a platform should look like? Are you gonna have the unicorn of tomorrow just because you've started so early? Or do you need to invest $1 billion to create the unicorn of tomorrow? Today is your chance, in my opinion. We enjoyed this session. Denis, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's been with us. Thank you, Julia, for today and for everything you're doing. Have a good day, guys. Have a good evening, wherever you are. Have a good night. Stay positive and feel us. See you at 40 million. Another block chat with Denis Petrovcic and Makram Hani, powered by Blocksquare. Good night.
Bye.